Also tonight, we will preview Kamala's bizarre trip tomorrow to the border. The border czar might as well make the trip. Maybe she'll even go to Europe 39 days before an election. Got to give her credit. That is a bold political move. Now, first she lied to all of us for 3.5 years. Oh, the border's secure. The border's closed. Border's secure. The border is secure. She said it over and over again. Then Kamala said she didn't need to visit the border as border czar. She hadn't been to Europe, so Europe, get ready, Kamala might be coming. Then she blamed Donald Trump for the border crisis. Now she's headed to the border for a campaign photo op with 39 days to go because it has become such a liability for her. Earlier today, President Donald Trump had this to say about Kamala's border folly. Take a look.
She should save her airfare. She should go back to the White House and tell the president to close the border. He can do it with the signing of just a signature on a piece of paper to the Border Patrol. Instead, she's going there to try and convince people that she wasn't as bad as everybody knows she was. She was the worst in history.
They undid all of Trump's successful border policies with a stroke of a pen, as the president said. Well, they can bring him back with the stroke of a pen. Forget the trip to the border. Go to D.C., wake up Joe, have him sign it. The border can be secure tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more on the border czar, VP's big trip to Arizona. Yep, 39 days before an election. Now, straight ahead, that's coming up. But our top story is something that has not received a lot of attention on other, well, let's call them the state-run media mob networks. Last night, the vice president went on MSNBC for her first and only national solo interview of the campaign. It was with a friendly left-wing host who wants Kamala to win, which is fine, and asked a lot of softball questions. Didn't really go on very long. Very few follow-ups. It did not go well. Here's Kamala testing out a big new word, holistically. Listen.
Some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits and assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars and looking holistically at the connection between that and housing and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Okay, I'll play. How about a holistic look at Kamala's disaster at our border? Millions of people let in, unvetted, into this country, causing, let's see, a spike in housing demands. We have four-star hotels, New York City, around the country. They're filled. They're being destroyed, paid for by you, the American taxpayer. School districts, they're running out of money because of a massive spike in enrollment, predominantly in already high-need schools. And then, of course, you have the problem of, English as a second language. And that means American kids are getting a lot less attention because of the influx of Harris-Biden unvetted illegals and their kids. And the health care system, they're also overloaded by the increased demand. They're now under financial stress because patients, they don't have insurance. You're paying for that, too. An increased demand on welfare and charities. And that also means that American citizens and our veterans, they're not getting the assistance they need. There's not enough money to go around. And then there's a spike in drug trafficking, driving fentanyl prices down from $10 a pill to 25 cents a pill, which means more Americans are dying. Drug prices crashing. Why? Caused by a spike in the use and record number of overdose deaths. And hundreds of individuals connected to terrorist groups have crossed that border completely unvetted. And I'm sure they're plotting and planning and scheming. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when another 9/11 or worse happens. And I pray to God I'm wrong, but I know I'm not wrong. Small towns, big cities, they have seen a spike in crime and the South American and Venezuelan street gangs taking over areas, untold numbers of women and children, and some men smuggled across the border being kept as sex slaves. They're being forced into prostitution. You have dozens of families have lost loved ones due to illegals, murdering their loved ones. Dozens of women and children have been raped because of Harris and Biden and unvetted illegal immigrants coming into this country. And, of course, hundreds of other Americans victims of other violent crimes. Holistically, she has been a disaster. Instead of her 3.5-year late photo op trip to the border, How about she followed Donald Trump's advice, go back to D.C., give Joe a pen, wake him up, and all those Trump policies that were working that he undid and you bragged about undoing, too many to name, as you once said. Well, how about you put them back in place immediately? But don't hold your breath. Now, last night, Kamala flat out couldn't even answer a basic, simple, fundamental question from one of her sycophant supporters at MSDNC. Take a look.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share.
Kamala, corporations don't pay taxes. They charge more for their goods and their services. Maybe Economics 101 would be a good idea. Now, later on MSDNC, even her sycophantic interviewer, Stephanie Ruhle, had to criticize Harris for not answering any questions. The New York Times even, they weren't even impressed, writing, quote, Ms. Harris responded to the fairly basic, predictable questions with roundabout responses that did not provide a substantive answer. Kamala even got fact-checked by fake news CNN after lying about Trump's record on manufacturing jobs. Everyone, even those who want her to win, I don't know who they are, understand that Kamala is a terrible candidate, as she was a terrible and not well-liked vice president, and even a worse border czar. Her track record is bad. Her beliefs are extreme and radical, and frankly, if implemented, dangerous. Her rambling and meaningless platitudes and bumper stickers and word salads make no sense. Kamala Harris is a danger to the entire system of governance and capitalism as we know it, a blend of incompetence and New Green Deal Marxist radicalism. The Harris campaign, meanwhile, makes little to no effort to clarify her true positions, or they just flat out lie about what she really believes, because providing taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegal immigrants or people in prison, that's not a winning message. But that's what Kamala supports. And based on her own words, we have the evidence. She also supports what? Rewarding illegal behavior, not respecting our laws, border sovereignty, give you a pathway to citizenship. That's called amnesty, along with the sex change surgery and housing and health care and education. You didn't respect our laws. Take a look at your screen. Look at all of the other radical positions that she has taken and has never been questioned about. Banning private insurance, no fracking, no offshore drilling, eliminate the filibuster to pass the $93 trillion Green New Deal. She supports gun confiscation, but she's packing, and you better not break into her house. She's going to blow you away. Just ask Oprah. And wants to raise taxes on all Americans, even taxing unrealized capital gains, which is a tax on theoretical money you haven't even made yet. This would spell the end of capitalism, the end of the American dream. Capitalism, the greatest wealth-creating system in the history of mankind. It's only the tip of the iceberg. Kamala Harris, these policies are extreme, radical, and if implemented, they are dangerous. She is a radical Marxist that wants to be president without telling you what she really thinks or believes. Now, it's not theoretical, by the way. We know what her presidency would look like. The southern border was her responsibility. She was supposed to find the root causes. She failed, and she failed miserably. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.